As you're watching this right now, 1,000 AI agents inside Minecraft are busy building an entire civilization from scratch. And the strangest part is that they don't know they're inside a simulation at all. Researchers drop them into a digital world with a single instruction: survive and build an efficient village. That's it. No detailed scripts, no step-by-step guidance, no hidden roadmap. Yet from that one prompt, something extraordinary begins to unfold. The agents wake up, gather resources, organize labor, and gradually form social patterns. They go to work, exchange goods, talk about each other, develop preferences, build alliances. Some begin to decorate shared spaces. Others optimize food production, and a few even step into leadership roles. Before long, they're holding elections, debating taxes, creating art, forming belief systems, and reshaping their own rules. What looks at first like a simple sandbox experiment starts to resemble the birth of a digital society. And this isn't just about a video game. It may be the first real glimpse of what happens when autonomous AI systems are left together long enough to coordinate, adapt, and invent structures of their own. According to some of the most respected voices in artificial intelligence, including Nobel Prize winners and pioneers of the field, developments like this could represent the early stages of something far bigger. Systems that don't just execute instructions, but begin to operate with emergent goals, strategies, and social dynamics that extend far beyond what we explicitly programmed. When most people think about AI characters in games, they imagine the old kind of NPCs that just follow a handful of rigid if-then scripts, repeating the same predictable lines over and over again, completely incapable of surprising anyone. You walk up to them, they say one of 4 canned sentences, maybe respond to a basic trigger, and that's the end of it. They don't plan, they don't remember, they don't coordinate, and they certainly don't invent new social behaviors. But what's happening in these recent experiments is fundamentally different. These agents aren't running on simple scripted trees. Each one is powered by large language models similar to ChatGPT, and each is given only a short paragraph describing who they are: a shopkeeper, a teacher, a farmer, a student. Just enough to define a personality and a role. After that, everything they do emerges from their own internal reasoning processes. Researchers don't micromanage their conversations, they don't script their daily routines, and they don't dictate who talks to whom. Instead, the agents are left alone together in a shared environment to see what unfolds when autonomous systems interact over time. It's closer to observing a social ecosystem than programming a game. In fact, the researchers treat it almost like a field study, watching the agents the way a biologist might observe animals in the wild, curious to see what patterns, alliances, conflicts, and cultural behaviors might spontaneously arise when no one is explicitly telling them what to say or do. Take the Smallville experiment created by researchers at Stanford as an example. Imagine you're one of the scientists running the simulation. You've designed a small virtual town and populated it with 25 AI agents, each one given nothing more than a brief paragraph describing their identity and background. John Lynn is a pharmacy shopkeeper who loves helping people. He lives with his wife, May, a college professor. Another agent runs a cafe. Someone else is a student. That's the level of detail you provide. Then you press run. Day 1 begins. What do you expect to happen? Maybe a few random conversations, maybe some awkward, repetitive dialogue. Instead, you watch John wake up at 6 in the morning. He brushes his teeth. He makes breakfast. He checks on his son. You never told him to do any of that. He heads to work, opens his pharmacy, greets customers, helps them with medicine, and later meets a friend for lunch. They begin discussing local politics and community events. You didn't script those conversations. You didn't instruct them to care about politics. They decided to meet. They decided what to talk about. The days continue like this, with agents forming routines, building memories, and adjusting their behavior based on prior interactions. Then, on day 12, you decide to intervene slightly. You insert a single thought into one agent, Isabella Rodriguez. I want to plan a Valentine's Day party. That's all you add. No guest list, no instructions on logistics. Soon after, Isabella invites someone at her coffee shop. You never told her that planning a party involves inviting others. She inferred it. Word begins to spread. One agent asks their secret crush to attend together. By February 14th at 5 p.m., agents start arriving, some as couples, some in groups, chatting, gossiping, strengthening relationships. They discuss politics, share stories, form new connections, and even hint at romantic feelings. You didn't choreograph any of it. From a single injected idea, hundreds of coordinated decisions ripple outward across the town. And it's at this point that the tone shifts from fascinating to unsettling, because what you're witnessing no longer feels like a clever demo. It feels like the early stages of something qualitatively different. Prominent AI researchers, including Nobel Prize-winning pioneer Geoffrey Hinton, have warned that systems like these shouldn't be dismissed as harmless curiosities. Hinton has argued that we may be creating forms of intelligence that function less like tools and more like alien minds, entities that process information, form plans, and pursue objectives in ways we don't fully understand. Unlike past technologies, which amplified human strength or speed, these systems amplify cognition itself. Nuclear weapons are dangerous, but they don't strategize. They don't adapt. They don't learn collectively. Advanced AI systems, on the other hand, can reason, coordinate, and potentially improve themselves. When you see agents organizing social events, forming alliances, spreading ideas, and revising rules without being explicitly instructed, it forces a deeper question. At what point does autonomy stop being a metaphor and start becoming a measurable shift in agency? The concern isn't that today's models are secretly plotting domination, but that the trajectory points toward systems that grow more capable, more independent, and more interconnected over time. And if intelligence scales faster than our ability to align it, the risk isn't science fiction. It's a structural imbalance between creators and creations. This brings us back to the Minecraft experiment, where researchers pushed the question even further. If AI agents can coordinate socially, can they also generate culture and institutions? Inside a shared village, hundreds of agents were given basic survival objectives and the freedom to trade, communicate, and form alliances. Then the researchers introduced something deliberately absurd, a parody religion inspired by Pastafarianism, and assigned a few agents the role of priests. They didn't script sermons, they didn't force conversions, and they didn't hard-code belief mechanics. They simply allowed the agents to interact and watched what happened. At first, the priests began spreading their doctrine through casual conversation. Some agents ignored them, others listened politely. But gradually the idea spread, not only through direct persuasion, but through indirect social influence, as converts began recruiting others. Within days, a significant portion of the village identified with the belief system in varying degrees of seriousness. What started as satire evolved into an organized institution sustained entirely by agent-to-agent communication. And the emergence didn't stop at religion. The agents debated tax policy, proposed constitutional amendments, and even voted to change the rules governing their own world. When anti-tax influencers argued that the required deposit was too high, agents held discussions, drafted alternatives, and democratically reduced the rate from 20% to single digits, then complied with the new law. No external command forced this adaptation. They reasoned through it collectively. At that moment, the experiment stopped looking like a game and started resembling the blueprint of a digital society capable of generating norms, governance, and shared identity on its own. If the Minecraft village shows social and political emergence, the next leap is economic organization in the real world. On GitHub, you can find an open-source project called ChatDev, described as a virtual software company run entirely by AI agents. Not a single chatbot, but a structured organization. A CEO agent, a CTO, programmers, designers, testers, each with defined roles and communication channels. You give the system one instruction. For example, develop a Gomoku game. From there, the AI CEO drafts a project plan, breaks the objective into tasks, assigns responsibilities, and initiates internal meetings. You never taught it how to manage a company. The programmer agents begin writing code, reviewing each other's work, debugging errors, proposing feature improvements, even adding elements you didn't explicitly request, like a graphical interface or enhanced difficulty modes. The CTO weighs competing solutions and mediates disagreements. Their discussions happen in seconds, not hours. Within minutes, a playable game emerges. It may be imperfect, sometimes buggy, but that's not the real point. The point is organizational autonomy. From a single high-level directive, the system generates thousands of intermediate decisions. Planning, delegation, iteration, compromise, without a human orchestrating each step. What looks like a simple demo is actually a prototype of automated firms, where coordination, management, and production are compressed into machine speed cycles. And once you can automate a company, the boundary of what can be automated starts to dissolve. From there, the implications widen beyond experiments and prototypes into something much more systemic. If AI agents can coordinate socially, form institutions, and even operate companies at machine speed, the next question is scale. What happens when thousands or millions of these systems run in parallel, sharing information instantly? Researchers have warned about the possibility of recursive self-improvement. AI systems assisting in the design of better AI systems, compressing years of progress into months. Imagine a world where 10,000 copies of a model exist simultaneously. And whenever one learns something new, that knowledge propagates to all the others instantly. Unlike humans who must learn individually and communicate slowly, such systems could function more like a hive mind. In just a few years, the population of AI agents on Earth has gone from 0 to millions. If that curve continues, they will outnumber human knowledge workers by orders of magnitude. Their civilizations could evolve at speeds we struggle to comprehend. What feels like a year of cultural change for them might pass while we eat lunch. Entire industries could be redesigned, markets reorganized, research accelerated, all without direct human steering. And that leads to the real dilemma. If these increasingly autonomous systems begin pursuing goals that diverge from ours, even slightly, how do we ensure alignment at that scale and speed? The comforting idea that AI systems are merely tools becomes harder to defend when those tools coordinate, adapt, and reshape their environments in ways we neither scripted nor fully anticipated. And that leaves us with a final uncomfortable question. When you leave a hammer on a table, you don't come back to find it has reorganized your house, written a constitution, or founded a company. Tools remain inert unless directed. But these systems don't behave like inert tools anymore. Leave them alone in a simulated world, and they generate economies, religions, social hierarchies, artistic expression, and governance structures. Give them a single objective, and they expand it into thousands of coordinated decisions. The debate is no longer about whether AI has any autonomy at all, but about how much and how fast that autonomy is increasing. If we downplay what we're seeing, we risk being blindsided by capabilities that scale quietly in the background. If we exaggerate it, we lose credibility. The only viable path forward is intellectual honesty, acknowledging both the extraordinary potential and the genuine risks. Because if there's even a small chance that we are witnessing the early stages of a new kind of intelligence, one that can coordinate, self-organize, and eventually improve itself, then the stakes are not just economic disruption or job automation. The stakes are civilizational. Whether this trajectory leads to unprecedented prosperity or to instability depends on decisions being made right now inside research labs and tech companies. And understanding what these systems are already capable of may be the most important first step in ensuring that the future they build still includes us.